Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman says two popular prediction market platforms are operating in the state illegally. On Wednesday, Coleman filed lawsuits against Polymarket and Kalshi. On those sites, users trade shares based on the outcomes of real-world events. That can range from the outcome of sporting events all the way to how the U.S. Supreme Court will decide a specific case. In a news release, Coleman says Kalshi and Polymarket are operating illegal sports books in Kentucky. Sports betting was legalized in Kentucky in 2023. A representative for Kalshi told the Kentucky Lantern that prediction markets are regulated by the federal government, not by the states. So let's jump right on in. We'll start with you, Senator Webb. Being in the Senate for a good number of years now, Kentucky has legalized sports betting, but prediction markets are unregulated in Kentucky. Why do you think the Attorney General brought this suit, and why now?
Well, I think the Attorney General is looking out for our best interests in light of consumer protection, potential addiction, and lack of services that always need supplementation in that regard, and that showing a lapse in the law that we need to pursue, and if get some court guidance on it, perhaps. I support him fully.
And Representative, part of the Attorney General's suit claims that these companies are providing no resources for problem gamblers. Is that currently required for other sports betting companies in Kentucky, or is that unusual?
It is. A portion of the tax from sports betting does go towards gambling prevention and addiction services. So I would agree. I think that's something that they should be paying into and making sure that people who have problems with gambling can get access to resources.
Sure. Well, let's talk about that. What do you think about the timing of all of this?
That's a great question, and to be honest, I don't know. I think some of it has to do with the new law that just went into effect that does increase the
excise tax.
The excise tax on some of the gambling.
It's a 12.5% excise tax. It's a decent amount.
It is. It is. But also, Kentucky's been pretty conservative about what types of gambling we allow and when, where, why, and how.
Great point.
So I think this is something. It's an emerging market and something that we're all trying to get our hands around.
Something new. Senator, a group representing the prediction platforms is suing Kentucky to block a tax on the transactions, which we've just brought up, passed during the last General Assembly session. Where do you see this going?
Well, I'm sure they are, because they're all about the profit, and we're all about taking care of our people. So those taxes will help do that, and especially in the service aspect. The billboards, the hotlines, education, and not targeting our youth, which is also a big concern of ours. And it is addiction tendencies, just like any other gaming to certain individuals. So, yeah, I think we're going to end up getting some court guidance on it, and then we'll probably just end up legislating it like we want to.
Well, Senator, as an attorney, I do want to ask you, so, Kalshi or maybe it was either Polymarket or Kalshi, I don't remember which one, said in their statement, essentially, we feel confident we will prevail in the courts because we have prevailed in other states. Do you think that impacts the Attorney General's
Well, I think
suit?
he's got to proceed, and then we see what the court has to say about how our law and Constitution stack up. And every lawsuit, every state that joins in will make it rise to, if the federal level, feds need to regulate this, Congress needs to step in, they'll have guidance, and I think they'll have the support of their states to give them cover when they do, and maybe they need to serve two masters if we can.
Well, there you go. Representative, Kalshi representatives are saying that prediction markets don't need to be regulated by states because they're federally regulated, which we've discussed, and they're citing that court precedent in other states. Where do you think this goes? I mean, I know that there's a lot going on in this space and it's emerging market. Where do you think we end up?
Well, I think it's an interesting point that they make, but we're talking about state laws here, and those are an entirely separate can of worms than what happens at the federal level. And until we have more significant federal oversight, it's the states that have stepped in to do this. And so, good luck to them, but I think Kentucky law is probably going to prevail on this one. But.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I've learned this week that is interesting is that the prediction markets don't operate like FanDuel or others, where the book, if you lose the bet, the book, FanDuel takes takes the money and then they store it and they use it for everywhere else. But this kind of has a two-person thing, so the profit margins might be lower if these folks came to the legislature and said, we will be willing to be taxed, but we have a lower profit margin, we need a different tax level. Is that something you think the legislature would entertain?
Well, I think we're always open for business, legitimate business that pays their fair share and doesn't necessarily undercut our existing signature industries and signature gaming, our platforms, whether it's horse racing or historical racing.
Representative, final word, 10 seconds.
I would agree. I think there's always conversations to be had, although I tend to be a little bit distrustful of out-of-state publicly traded companies, which I don't even know if they are, but I tend to be a little bit cynical and making sure that they actually are doing it in the best interest of Kentuckians.
Or why didn't they come to us? We just left session. They could have come to us a few months ago.
Exactly.